Welcome to the Copenhagen Diaries. Join me and two of my best friends as we dive into the heart of one of Europe's most beautiful and stylish cities, Copenhagen. We spent 48 hours in this Danish gem. From its iconic canals to its charming streets and world-class design, this city has just a way of making you feel like you've stepped into a dream. Next, we checked into our hotel. It was so warm and cozy and just the perfect place to come back to after a day of exploring. Something we noticed were the bikes. They're everywhere. It's like the city's heartbeat. It's fast, free, and just full of life. And then we went to 7-Eleven because, let's just be real, you've got to explore those convenience stores abroad, got to get all the snacks. We picked up loads of Danish snacks and then just decided to bring them back to the hotel where we caught up on life, chilled, and just relaxed before our day of exploring the next day. We also watched the sunset as it dipped low beneath the Copenhagen rooftops, turning the sky this beautiful golden colour. The next day, the adventure truly begins. First up, a canal tour. The water is calm, it reflects the colours of the buildings. You can't help but be charmed by the mix of old world charm and modern style that just defines Copenhagen. It's a city that's both historic and also effortlessly cool, in a way that just feels completely natural. There's people doing yoga, there's shops along the canal, along with these historic parliamentary and royal buildings. As we glide through the water, we also can't help but laugh every time we go under one of those very low bridges, just a few inches above our head. But the real highlight here is our tour guide. He's got the perfect blend of humour and knowledge, sharing stories about the city's history, while making us laugh with his quick wit and playful anecdotes. I'm just going to let him steal the show away here and share some of his insights.
Your heads, if you're tall, it's a good time not to be.
Oh my god!
Every day. Every day. That's just part of the payback though. You see, the water in Copenhagen, so well as the surrounding area, was too polluted to drink. And so, we Danes, we survived off of beer, of course. Even the children got to drink back then. Thankfully though, the alcohol percentage was a great deal lower, so it wasn't entirely terrible, and that was lucky because we drank a lot. Between 4 to 6 liters per adult a day, 2 to 4 liters per child. And that was because we ate so much salted, smoked and dried food back then. We were always working up a thirst. And how did you deal with the thirst? With beer! On an entirely unrelated note, we also lost all of the wars back then. No idea why.
Then we were off to climb the tower of the Danish Parliament. From the top, the city stretches out in every direction. Green parks, rooftops, the harbour sparkling in the sunlight. The view takes your breath away, but it's also a reminder of how thoughtfully Copenhagen is designed, with nature and beauty blending into the urban landscape, and you can even see Sweden if you look very closely. As we stroll through the streets, we can't help but be drawn to the vibrant, colourful houses. Each building seems to have its own personality, with soft pastels, bold primaries and warm earthy tones. They almost look painted by sunset itself, giving the whole neighbourhood a storybook feel. We next head to Joe and the Juice, which I did not know was Danish. So we just had our usual order that we would have in London, but it was very, very much needed. It wouldn't be a trip in a European city without a bit of shopping. We went to the Lego store and Soston Green. We just had to go. I adore Soston Green, so being in the motherland and the OG store was just special. We also stumbled upon the Royal Library Garden, which was absolutely beautiful. So much greenery and this fountain. It was just a lovely thing to stumble on our way back to the hotel. And again, we just caught some glimpses of the canal. Next, we went to Tivoli Gardens, a literal theme park in the heart of the city. There was even peacocks. It was just beautiful and a great way to just start our evening before heading to dinner. Now, Copenhagen, if you've not grasped yet, is very much surrounded by water. and so boats are one of the number one transports. So we took one of the taxi boats over to the Refin food market. This was great, so many different types of different foods. It had such a lovely, quirky feeling to it as well. And then we got back on the boat again, saw another sunset. It's just becoming a ritual at this point. And it was just so calming to head back on a boat, see the water. We got back to the hotel, got our Danish snacks, and just watched Crazy Rich Asians. And then it was the final day already. We started off exploring Rosenborg Castle and stumbled upon yet another garden. But as our 48 hours of Copenhagen comes to an end, we can't help but feel like we've only already scratched the surface of what this beautiful city has to offer. From the charming canals and colourful houses to the lively streets and hidden gems, Copenhagen has this way of just capturing your heart. We laughed, we explored, we soaked up the city's effortless style and charm. It's a place that feels both very modern but also completely timeless, and we're all already planning our next visit. So thanks for joining this adventure, Copenhagen. You have been absolutely unforgettable.